Hello my friends, and welcome back to the experimenting of making my own pigments. So these are a bit different. This one is not totally dry yet. Sorry about my fingers, you know, eco dye ink. But these are dry, and I'm going to show you how we are going to continue with making the pigments usable. So I'm just going to take my coffee filters and scrape this off. And all these three was the same. I had a bit difficult time to get it to run through the coffee filter, so I needed to change it to be able to get all of it out. I'm using a plastic butter knife, so I don't use anything that is very sharp. I want to be able to scrape so much as possible without tearing the paper and get paper in the pigments. And when you get all the pigments out, it looks like this. They can be a bit different in color, depending on if they have dried thick or thin. But you will see when I take my... This is actually a candle holder. You need to have something to squeeze and mold it with. And this is totally flat in the bottom and very heavy. So instead of buying a molar, I use this economical way to At the moment, I'm not going to do the actual modeling for getting these this powder. We are going for in the end. That takes a bit of a time, so I will just show it to you like this. So you mold it like this on some heavy surface, like marble or stone. You can use plexiglass, something that is very flat and strong. Because it's when it has dried totally, it's hard and strong. So this is how we want it to look when done for making paint of it. But I'm not going to show you that now. I just want to show you how to store it and how it looks when it has dried. So this was a little bit more dried in small pieces. This was one of the colors I did. So I have already smooshed them and put them in the jar. Then when I'm going to use this, I'm taking this out and mull it on a more heavy and strong surface, so I get this fine powder. And when you have done that, you can use it however you want. You can put it in water and solve it and put it in your eco dyeing if you want to color some paper. You can put oil paint medium in it. You can buy that already blended, so you just have a bottle of liquid that you blend with this. And the same with the watercolor. I'm going to use this in my watercolor painting, and I have bought a watercolor medium, so it's liquid and I'm blending it with this when I'm going to use it. So I'm going to show you that later and paint with it, so you can see how it is used. But make sure that it's totally dry. So before you put it in the jars, make sure that it's really dry. One of the I guess we will have to wait with this one because this isn't all dried yet, but we will take it off and put it on a paper, and then I will put it on my lawn or in my on my porch and dry it a bit more in the sun. But you can see that it's crystals, almost like sugar when it has dried. So this was lupin, and as you can see, it's different in colors, but when you then mull it, it will get the same pinkish tone. So I'm just taking my little jar and store it like this. Until it's time to use it. And you can just put it in like this and close it. Then you can read lupin inside, and you have your pigment. So let's do the last one. That was clematis. And these flowers was light blue. Got a lot of this pigment. It's very different. I saw that on one of these, I think it was this one, that it was a very small amount when it has dried. And you will see that this will get smushed much easier. It's not totally dried yet. So you can see it's almost getting stuck to my muller. So I will leave this as it is a few more days out on the porch to dry. So don't put it in the jar unless you are totally sure that it's dried. So I'm putting my sign for the name back, and I will put it in the sun a few more days. Doing a bit smaller pieces so it's easier for it to dry. Make sure to scrape off every little ounce of color. Like that. So this is how you store it in a little can and in darkness, so it won't change from the light. Botanical ink is, or pigment is not light safe. It's will be lighter with time, but not kind of all the right away. You can have it for quite a long time before it change in color. But it's not like ordinary pigments that are made from stones, or those are more resistant to light, so you need to be more careful when you use flowers and leaves. So see you back in my craft room, where I will show you how I blend this to make watercolor paint. So before we can make any paint, we need to make a really fine powder of the pigments. So I'm using my candle holder and molding it until it's really thin, and I'm sure that all the big pieces are molded down. And to make sure that this is just a powder now, I'm going to put it through this so we just get the finest powder to use in our watercolor paint making. So the stuff that is left in this will be molded again, so everything will be used and mold to this really fine powder. Okay guys, it's time to make some watercolor paint. This is the pigment that is done now, so you can use it as it is with water if you want to color paper or textile or almost anything. I am going to use this. It's a medium for making watercolor paint. It's gum arabicum and a binder, and I buy this done, so I don't need to elaborate with the different kinds of mediums. So it's easier when I am, this is the first time I'm doing it, so I'm going to use this. And you need just a few drops of this and some distillated water and pigments. So I am taking a dark plate so that you can see it more clearly. So let's make our first watercolor. Ooh, this is exciting. So I'm going to take a teaspoon, and I think I'm going to start with 1. I'm not sure how much you can get into these. This is whole pans, so for watercolor, so I mostly use half pans, and they are forever. You can use them as long as forever. It feels like that, at least. So then we are taking a few drops of this. I'm not sure what a few drops is, so let's start with 4, 5 maybe. And the same with some distillated water. Just going to take it in my so we don't take too much. And then we are going to start blend it and see what we can get. Can see right away that we need more. Take some more water and a bit more of the medium. We can always put in more color pigment if we need. If you take too much, it gets very stiff, and if you take too small amount, it will be floating. So I actually don't know. We need to try. I think that looks like in the recordings I have looked at. So let's see if we can put this in the half pan. No, the whole pan. I'm so used to say half pan, so I mostly use them. Try to get all of it in. You can fill it up, almost goes over, because it will sink down when it gets hard. Yay! We have done our first watercolor paint. Look at that, my first one. Amazing, my first watercolor is done. So I hope this inspired you to do your own. I actually have found some blue pigments today, and it was so easy. It was the blue flowers that are all over Sweden at the moment, and I will show you in a recording when this is done. And I was so surprised. I just never thought it could give that beautiful blue color, so I will show you which flower it is. Thank you so much for following me making my own watercolor paint, and we will of course paint with it later so you can see how it looks.